Hello friends! In this video I would like to talk about the concept of markers. What is it? Essentially, a marker is a short associative word that is connected to something for the dog. A simple example. Pavlov's reflex with the light bulb. When the light bulb was turned on and food was brought to the dog after a certain number of repetitions, the dog would start to salivate at the light bulb. The same principle applies to markers. We come up with a marker. It can be a verbal word. Yes, Chip, okay. It should be short, clear, and interesting for the dog. This should be the only meaning that this word has. Or we use a clicker. A clicker is a mechanical marker. There are three types of markers. They are vocal, mechanical, and tactile. A tactile marker is when I touch the dog in a certain way and give food to a specific part of the body. But we don't need that. Basically, what I want to do now is work on getting the dog used to the marker in a very simple way. We take some food. An important point is that the dog must be motivated. We'll talk about motivation separately, but right now we're considering the case where the dog is motivated by food. In this case, for Grechka, it's her food, her morning portion. This is what it means for a dog to be motivated by food. It's a completely normal reaction. This is the meat we use for her meals and accordingly for her training. But you can use another treat if your dog isn't allergic. So, I have the food here. What's the goal? The goal is to associate the word with the reward. That's why I start practicing with the same timbre, in the same tone, with the same intonation, the marker word. For Grechka, I'll use the word yes. You can use ada, chip, or okay. The most important thing is the sound and the habit. Since she's already used to the word yes, that's what I'll use. Yes. Notice that when giving the reward, I'm not the one reaching out to the dog. You can do it that way, of course. There's nothing really wrong with it. No serious mistake. But I always try to do it this way. Yes. You see, so that when she hears the marker, her brain already gives the signal, move toward him. So, marker, movement signal, reward. If I'm always the one reaching out, the dog won't have as much drive to move toward me. And please pay attention to how I give the marker. It should be quick. So, in every sport, there are some explosive actions. In boxing, it's a quick punch, like a jab. In volleyball, it's a spike. In basketball, it's a sudden drive with the ball. It's the same here in training. This should be a short, fast movement, given simultaneously with the marker. So, what am I doing? Basically, if I'm standing facing the dog, or the dog is moving away from me, I don't need to move here at all. It's great when the dog is next to me, paying attention to something it heard or saw. But actually, we'll discuss this topic later, but for now it's not important to us. So the dog is in front of me, and I'm keeping my elbow at a 90-degree angle. That is, I need to make a short movement, lowering my hand down, simultaneously giving the marker and making a quick step back with my foot. You can even see, when I do this movement, she actually jumps up. So, basically, that's the entire technical part of this technique. It's very simple, but you need to practice. Some people make mistakes with the tone. If it's boring like this, your dog shouldn't be like that. She should always be moving, watching, like now, marker. In other words, she should be very engaged in the process. It is important to understand that the primary focus in this particular work should not be solely on what ultimately ends up in the dog's stomach, but rather on her genuine efforts to show some drive, actively chasing after that enticing piece of food. That is, later on, when we start working on more complex technical elements. We'll need to have her spin, turn, lie down, stand, sit, turn to the left, turn to the right. All of this will be connected to chasing after a piece of food. That's why even now we need to incorporate this into our work, specifically through movement and more. One more thing, you can roughly count the number of repetitions you do during a training session. I have a little device for that. You can do this in your head, just roughly for yourself. But the point is to understand the average number of repetitions we do during our training. So if I press it, the number just increases by 1 with each press. I can simply set the rule that whenever I give a marker, I press the button. And at the end of the training, I can see how many I did. It could be 2, 3, 4, 5, however many commands I practiced, I can keep track of that. For a certain command with... This is a very simple and effective exercise that you should definitely try to do with your beloved dog.